I know it sounds so incredibly cliche, but I truly cannot believe we're already kind of getting to the end of summer. I wanted to give myself a little bit of time today to reorganize some things. What I definitely would like to start with is tidying up my office space. So the room that I'm currently in has changed uses several times over the years that we have lived here, but we recently changed it to being my office. And so far it's working out really well in here. I had my office for quite some time upstairs in one of the extra guest bedrooms, but I at one point wanted to get a walking pad so that I could walk while I work on my laptop. But the ceilings on the second floor aren't nearly as tall as the first floor, and so I would be like, it just would be a little bit cramped to be walking up there, especially because I am taller. So we moved it down here where we have very nice tall ceilings. But moving my office down here was kind of a quick and dirty process. We did, buy the new walking pad, buy a new desk that would work with it. Otherwise, we just kind of threw some random things in here, and just recently we actually swapped out. I had a long, shorter shelf here, and we kind of threw this taller one here just because we needed a spot for it, and then we ended up being like, oh, it actually kind of works here. Since I didn't think originally that it was going to stay here, I literally just threw the books on the bookshelf and didn't organize them, didn't style them. They're just kind of tossed on there. And so I would really love to, number one, just clean up my office. I will show you the mess that it is currently, and then take just a couple minutes and style it a little bit. I think right now it feels kind of like it's not purposeful, and for me that's always a little bit distracting. I'm always thinking while I'm sitting here of the things that I could do to make it look a little bit better. So I think we're just going to take a couple minutes to do that. I was also thinking there's the wall behind my desk that is completely blank. It is a brick wall technically. Right behind the plaster is brick because it's the other side of our fireplace. So I can't hang anything heavy on the wall, but I can use push pins and still hang up some light art and stuff like that. So I'm just thinking we're gonna do just a really quick refresh and little baby makeover, and just give this space a little bit more thought, a little bit more style, just make it feel a little bit more homey, because I still feel like I just dropped myself in this office and it's not purposeful, and so we're gonna give it some purpose.
Okay, welcome to the office. Dutch is already in here, cuddled up, but I have some old roller skates over here that I need to find a home for. My plants, this plant actually usually isn't our primary bedroom, but we've been doing some work all upstairs, and so we had to move it down here, and there just happened to be a hook that I had used for something else here. So it's in kind of an awkward spot if you're going to sit in that chair, but mostly only Dutch sits in that chair at this point. So it works out fine for her. So that is just a funny little thing that's going on in here, but we're going to leave that because I think it's still so nice to have those plants there. And we have the bookshelf that I mentioned before that we decided to keep in here. So I definitely want to style these guys out after I clean up everything. This radiator actually does not belong in this room, but it goes in the living room, but we're doing some work in there too. Renovation life. So it's just sitting in here until we get that work done, which is fine. We'll just leave that here. But all this other stuff, these are presents because I have several birthdays coming up. So we're gonna put those in the car so they're ready to go. And just this stuff can find a new home. This is a wreath that I just recently thrifted. I want to put that down in the basement just until I am ready. I want to do a little fall makeover on that, but I am definitely not ready to do that yet. So we're gonna put that in the basement until we're ready this fall. This stuff too just needs to go to its home. Here is my mess of a desk. So we're gonna clear that off, give it a good cleaning, and then this is where I was thinking we could maybe add some quick art and just give myself something to look at when I am working at my desk. And there's my little walking pad. I just recently just brought this cabinet in here because I felt like my camera stuff, this is all just like random camera gear, was just all over the floor. So I put my like charging stuff in there and all of my lenses. So I need to just empty out some of these bags that still have a few camera gear things. That way I can just get rid of these bags and that is all set and we can clear this up. But yes, that is where we are starting from.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden, golden, I'll follow only golden, 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 golden things. Mountain laurel high fives for miles in spring. Rainbow trout and a hummingbird wing. Golden, I'll follow only golden, golden, golden things.
Okay, so it's time to work on the bookshelf. So this is one of those things that I feel like I could easily spend 2 hours working on, but we want to keep it short and sweet and just get it cleaned up so it looks better and not spend too much time on it. So I feel like I'm going to give myself like max 20 minutes. But we're going to see if we can do it in 10 and just get it cleaned up.
Walk up the river by my son. Feet step over splinters of the moon. Golden, I'll follow only golden, golden.
Okay, so it's been a few days since I started this little project, and in general my office just feels so much better. It's been so nice to just have it cleaned up. But the last thing that I do really want to do, and I just didn't have time so far, is to add some art over where my desk is. My desk is down here. It's low, so my desk is a convertible desk or whatever. It's an electronic desk, so when I'm walking on it I can lift it up high, and then when I am just sitting at it I can lower it, which is nice, but you know, it's kind of a boring desk. I don't want to spend too much money on this project, or really any money on this project. So I went through and dug through old art that I already had printed because we've moved things around quite a few times in our house, and I knew I had some things hanging around. So I do have these two prints. Actually, these are both my own photos that I took on trips that we did. I think this is from the Bahamas, and then this is from Palm Springs, which is where we got engaged, but different trip from that picture. But anyway, I printed these a long time ago, and they were in the guest room at one point. And then at one point they just kind of didn't feel right in there anymore when I made some changes. So they do kind of not go with a lot of my other decor that I do nowadays. My style's kind of evolved over the years, but I do still really love them. I think that they're really fun photos and they remind me of good times. I just haven't had a spot for them. So, but I'm kind of thinking they kind of work in here with how light the wall is. I feel like they'll look pretty nice above my desk. So I just have to raise my desk up to where, you know, it stands when I'm actually walking on it. That way I can kind of figure out where to hang them from there.
To hang pictures, I always find the painter's tape method to be the easiest. Using a little scrap piece, I mark approximately where I want the top of the frames to sit. Then I cut a piece to the size of each frame and mark where the hangers are. I then hang up the guides, ensuring that I'm happy with the placement and checking to make sure they're generally level. I can then just nail in my hangers where I marked on the painter's tape and remove the tape. Since my desk is so plain and modern, I really wanted to add just a little bit of charm to it with some vintage thrifted finds and a little greenery. A little refresh is exactly what this space needed, and I am really happy with how it came out. I think sometimes in our fast-changing world, it's easy to want to go big and crave those full makeovers, but I think sometimes just a quick tidy and moving things around a bit can be just as satisfying. I will be back very soon to start decorating for autumn, so if you are excited to see some fall thrifting and decorating, feel free to follow along because I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of fun.